Hello, and welcome to our channel. Today we celebrate the remarkable life of actor-director Robert Redford, 1936 to 2025, discussing his early years, rise to fame, activism, and lasting legacy. Redford was a leading man in Hollywood classics, such as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Sting, The Way We Were, and All the President's Men, later winning an Academy Award for Best Director with Ordinary People 1980. He also co-founded the Sundance Institute and Film Festival to champion independent filmmakers. In this video documentary style, we'll cover his upbringing and education, his film career and Sundance work, his environmental and humanitarian efforts, plus his personal life, marriages, children, and the circumstances of his death. Early life and education. Robert Redford was born August 18, 1936 in Santa Monica, California, the only surviving child of Charles Robert Redford Sr. and Martha Woodruff Redford. His father worked as a milkman and later as an oil company accountant, while his mother was outgoing with a passion for literature and film. Tragedy struck the family early. Redford's mother died in 1955 from a blood infection, and he had also lost twin baby sisters in infancy. He later had a paternal half-brother, William Redford. Growing up in the Van Nuys neighborhood of Los Angeles, Redford excelled at sports, but did not enjoy school. After graduating Van Nuys High in 1954, he won a baseball scholarship to the University of Colorado at Boulder, but he struggled academically and socially. According to interviews, he admitted to drinking heavily and eventually dropped out of college in the late 1950s. Redford then moved to Europe for over a year, living a bohemian life and absorbing art and culture. Returning to the U.S. in 1959, he settled in New York City with his first wife, Lola Van Wagenen, and shifted his focus to the arts. He studied visual design at the Pratt Institute and then acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in Manhattan. In 1959, he made his stage debut on Broadway in the comedy Tall Story, marking the beginning of a career that would soon bring him fame on stage, television, and finally film. Acting and directing career. By the mid-1960s, Redford's film career took off. After his debut in War Hunt 1962, he achieved stardom when he reprised his Broadway role in the film Barefoot in the Park, 1967, opposite Jane Fonda. He became a Hollywood A-lister with iconic roles, playing the outlaw Sundance Kid alongside Paul Newman in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid 1969, and starring with Barbra Streisand in The Way We Were 1973, and with Newman again in The Sting 1973. The Sting earned Redford his only Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He followed these with major hits like 3 Days of the Condor, 1975, and All the President's Men, 1976, in which he portrayed journalist Bob Woodward. Through the 1970s, he was widely regarded as a charismatic leading man and sex symbol. After establishing himself as an actor, Redford turned to directing. In 1980, he made his directorial debut with the drama Ordinary People, an adaptation of Judith Guest's novel, which won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director for Redford. Over the following decades, he directed several films, such as A River Runs Through It, 1992, Quiz Show, 1994, and The Horse Whisperer, 1998, often focusing on humanistic and literary themes. His work behind the camera earned him great respect, and an Academy Honorary Award in 2002. In total, Redford's professional career spanned 6 decades, 1959 to 2025, with awards including an Academy Award, a BAFTA, and multiple Golden Globes. Sundance Institute and independent film. An especially enduring part of Redford's legacy is his championing of independent cinema through the Sundance movement. In the early 1960s, he had bought a tract of land in Utah's Provo Canyon and gradually expanded it, eventually creating the Sundance Mountain Resort. When a small local ski festival struggled, Redford stepped in. In 1981, he co-founded the Sundance Institute, a non-profit to nurture independent filmmakers, and later that institute took over the annual Utah Film Festival and renamed it the Sundance Film Festival in Park City. He used his resources and celebrity to rescue and expand the festival, which became instrumental in launching careers of filmmakers like Quentin Tarantino and Steven Soderbergh. Redford himself said he saw other stories out there in American filmmaking that needed a chance. Over decades, Sundance grew into one of the most prestigious film festivals in the world, promoting innovative cinema outside Hollywood. Redford often remarked that giving a platform to new talent was among his proudest accomplishments. Environmental activism and philanthropy. Equally important were Redford's off-screen commitments. He was an ardent conservationist and humanitarian, investing his fame in progressive causes. Having fallen in love with the Western landscape during Butch Cassidy, filmed in Monument Valley, and his time in Utah, he became a passionate advocate for protecting public lands. Redford used his political clout to oppose environmentally damaging developments in Utah, so much so that in the 1970s, he even received death threats for fighting a proposed uranium mining project and a big coal-fired power plant near sacred lands. He supported landmark conservation efforts too. He lobbied for the Alaska National Interest Lands Conservation Act, which created the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, and helped establish the Grand Staircase, Escalante National Monument in southern Utah. In recognition of his activism, environmental organizations honored him. For example, the National Wildlife Federation Santa Monica offices were named for him in 2003. In 2005, Redford and his son James Redford co-founded the Redford Center, a non-profit dedicated to environmental storytelling through film. The center produces documentaries on climate and social issues. For instance, the HBO film Happening, A Clean Energy Revolution 2017, aiming to inspire action rather than fear about climate change. Redford himself wrote that he felt the prevailing apocalyptic climate narrative needed positive messaging to mobilize people. Colleagues in the environmental movement noted that Redford was more than a celebrity name signer. He understood the issues and got to work, rolling up his sleeves, and even joking that he would take care of the compost in exchange for having an office building named after him. Over 50 years, he was described as a lifelong champion for wildlife conservation and an unwavering advocate for America's public lands. In 2016, President Obama awarded Redford the Presidential Medal of Freedom, citing both his artistic achievements and his advocacy for the environment and human rights. Personal life. Redford's personal life was mostly private, but included marriage, family, and interests. He married historian Lola Van Wagenen in 1958. The couple had 4 children together, 3 boys and a girl. Their first son, Scott Anthony Redford, born 1959, tragically died of SIDS at 2 months old. They later had 3 more children: daughter Shauna Redford, born in 1960, son James Jamie Redford, born in 1962, and daughter Amy Redford, born in 1970. Sadly, Redford's younger son Jamie, also a documentary filmmaker, died of bile duct cancer in 2020. His 2 daughters are both in the arts. Shauna is an author and Amy an actress/director. Redford and Van Wagenen divorced in 1985. In 2009, he married painter Sibylle Saggers. The couple remained together for the rest of his life. Throughout his life, Redford maintained a lean, athletic build. He stood about 5 feet 10 inches tall, and in his younger years, weighed roughly 160 pounds, around 72 kilograms, giving him a wiry, fit look that suited his action roles. He was also an avid outdoorsman. In his later years, he often hiked, biked, and skied in the mountains of Utah. Redford was raised in his parents' Protestant faith. His family was historically Episcopalian, but became essentially secular. He once said he felt betrayed by God after his mother's death, and he did not follow any formal religion in adulthood. Politically, he was a liberal Democrat. Redford was known to support environmental and human rights causes, though he avoided direct political office. Death and legacy. Robert Redford passed away peacefully on September 16, 2025, at the age of 89. According to his family statement, he died at his home at Sundance in the Utah mountains, the place he loved, surrounded by those he loved. His publicist later confirmed that he had passed away in his sleep at home. No specific illness was announced. His death was widely reported by major media, including the New York Times and CBS News, which noted that Redford had recently retired from acting after his last film, The Old Man and the Gun, 2018. At the time of his death, Redford's estimated net worth was reported to be around $200 million. This wealth reflected his decades of success in Hollywood, acting, directing, and producing, as well as savvy business ventures. He founded Sundance Resort and licensed a Sundance catalog. His primary assets were his Utah property and investments. He was not known as a spendthrift. For example, his Utah ranch became Sundance Resort, which continues to operate as a ski and arts retreat. He also owned another substantial property in Ojai, California, known as Thatcher Creek Ranch, sold by his estate in 2019 for $31 million. But Redford was no playboy. He lived modestly on his ranch, often riding his horse or hiking on his own trails. Thank you for watching our tribute to his life. Feel free to share your favorite Robert Redford moments in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth profiles of influential figures.